make it really simple because we care. It doesn't matter large or small. Our friendly staff will handle it all. Starting it over is what we do at Max Twin City Recycling.
Your number one sports bar and grill is Pia's. Head to 1609 West Springfield Avenue to watch all your favorite sports teams play on the big screen TVs as you enjoy great drink specials and the famous 10-ounce Slugger Burger. With the slot machines, darts, video, golf, and outdoor beer garden, meet your friends at Pia's since 1975. Open mornings at 7 a.m., Sundays at 8. See you at Pia's.
Detroit had a 1-0 lead after 2, 2-0 after 4, and that's all they needed. Each team scored in the 6th, and then Detroit capped off the scoring with a 2-run 8th and beating the Cardinals 5-1.
Cardinals got a good look at the Tigers' bullpen, but they were all good, and the Cardinals couldn't get anything going offensively in support of Andre Pallante, who was okay in this game. His line's not too bad, but unfortunately, when your team's not scoring, 3 runs in 6 innings is too many, and not quite a quality start for Pallante. He went 5 2/3, but I would say overall he has some things to be satisfied about. But you can't, of course, be satisfied with the loss. A 5-1 loss to the Tigers in a game that took 2 hours and 42 minutes to play. A lot of pitching changes in this game. Part of the reason for that. But overall, I would say a well-played game on both sides on the defensive side. The Cardinals just, again, couldn't get anything going offensively.
Plus walks played big in putting more pressure on Cardinal pitching.
No
4
doubt.
for Pallante, 2 for Maton, 1 for Roycroft, and a hit by pitch for Maton and Romero. But Romero was able to leave the bases loaded, striking out Riley Green in the 7th inning. Then more pressure in the 8th inning, and the Tigers cashed in their final 2 runs.
Well, it shows you what the pressure is like when you're not hitting. Back to that. If you're scoring a bunch of runs, then maybe you throw more strikes. You don't feel like you have to be so fine, but pitchers start to think that maybe I can't make a mistake here because the game is so tight, and then we're down that I can't afford to give up another run, and then you start kind of getting a little timid. I feel like that was maybe the case today. Regardless, the Cardinals, winning 1 out of 3 against the Tigers. It's a pretty good team, and you don't want to lose a series. The Cardinals had won 5 straight series going into today's game, and unfortunately, they're going to have to start over again on Friday.
And that will be against the Arizona Diamondbacks. And the last time the Cardinals lost back-to-back games, May 1st at Cincinnati, and then at home May 2nd against the Mets. After that, they took off on a 9-game winning streak.
We'd take another one of those.
Our Play of the Game is presented by Marriott St. Louis Grand. Book your Grand Slam Cardinals ticket package. Do that now. We'll hear the play when we come back.
Well, tell me, Tim Onstadt, how is it going at Gale Frericks Trucking?
Oh, we're busy. We're going gangbusters. We've got a new driver going through orientation. That leaves us 1 spot left for somebody that wants to get in on the action and make some money, be home, get some quality time. It's a great opportunity.
And the type of person you like hiring?
Honesty, integrity, like everybody else is looking for. That guy that wants to have a family life, but be able to make some good money and do the right things.
Are you looking for experienced drivers? And if they have a military background and things like that, that's always an asset.
We do need some experience. Of course, we like getting the guys 15 years in that know what they're doing, maybe have been treated bad by other companies and need a place looking for a home. If somebody has the basics, maybe a year and a half, has a military background, I'll count that as some experience because they're used to following the process. Well, you can always email me at timo@gftlog.com.
With like Lands Inc., we specialize in, we've got an amazing HVAC department that takes care of your furnace, your heat system, air conditioning, they do
pumps,
that.
yeah.
And for us in Underground, we take care of all your pipes that come into your home, leave your home, and work around your home to keep it dry, your drainage system, sump pumps, things like that. And exactly what you said, if you don't know, a couple decades ago, it was more like, oh, something broke, go fix it, repair it, no big deal. Well, now with the technology, we have cameras, like you said, that we can come in on these Orange Comfort Clubs, and we can camera your sewer lines underneath your house and check them out just to make sure they're fine. If there's something wrong with it, we can show you right then. Truth is in seeing it.
Yeah.
We show show it to you, and then you can plan as a homeowner for making those repairs or dealing with that issue later on. If it's an immediate need, at least you're not caught off surprise.
That sewer camera inspection with a proper clean out. I was just learning more at landsinc.com.
You're listening to St. Louis Cardinals baseball on WSJK Tuscola, Champaign-Urbana, ESPN 93.5. Brought to you by Max Twin City Recycling. Visit them at maxrecycling.com.
Fly by Colt Keith. Detroit was able to get the run they needed to put this one away as they won 5-1, but they scored their second run in the fourth inning, and it came after a walk to Riley Green. Torkelson was at the plate for our play of the game presented by Marriott St. Louis Grand.
Not running. The 2-1 pitch is hit hard towards right field. That's backing up Jordan Walker, and he makes the play. No, he dropped it up against the wall. It hit his glove. He couldn't hang on. The ball dropped to the ground, and scoring from first base is Riley Green, and it's 2-0 Detroit.
Yeah, Jordan gave it a great effort, and the ball may have just grazed the glove and got past him. And that made it 2-0 Detroit. The Tigers picked up another run in the fourth inning, scoring a walk to Riley Green. So he was able to come on around on a base hit by Dylan Dingler. And Detroit had a couple of runners caught on the bases. Torkelson was tagged out to end the inning. The Cardinals scored a run in their half of the sixth on a base hit to right by Victor Scott II. He advanced on a fly out by Brendan Donovan. And then after a pitching change with Hannafy coming in, Wilson Contreras singled up the middle for the Cardinals' only run, and Detroit put the game away with 2 runs in the eighth. The line scored today, 5 runs, 7 hits, no errors, 8 left on for Detroit, 2 for 11 with runners in scoring position. A run on 5 hits, no errors, 5 left on for the Cardinals, who had 1 hit in 6 at-bats with runners in scoring position. First Major League win for Chase Lee. Andre Palante is 4-3 with the loss, and a 2-hour, 42-minute game with 28,990 at Busch Stadium went to the Tigers 5-1. It's the Cardinals against the D-backs. 6:20 airtime on Friday night. Zach Gallen 3-5, former Cardinal farmhand, against Miles Michaelis 3-2. We'll have the lineups at 7:05, and I'll bring you the first pitch thrown by Miles Michaelis around 7:15. We hope you'll join us then. Thanks to our producer-engineer Jim Jackson, to Drew Young in the St. Louis studio. Our booth assistant here at the ballpark, Kyle Sixta. Joe Pott hosted our pregame show. Matt Pauley is coming up with the postgame show. Now for Mike Claiborne and Ricky Orton, I'm John Rooney. The Tigers won today 5-1, taking 2 out of 3. And so long from Busch Stadium. St. Louis Cardinals baseball has been brought to you by Budweiser, official beer sponsor of Major League Baseball. Crack open the game with Budweiser and enjoy unrivaled flavor and refreshment. By your quality Ford dealers, the official vehicles of the St. Louis Cardinals. By Schnucks. Earn 2% back on every purchase with the Schnucks Rewards app. By Shelter Insurance. Find an agent near you at shelterinsurance.com to help you choose the coverage that fits just right for your auto, home, and life insurance. By Explore St. Louis. Learn all about the great things to do in St. Louis. Visit exploreStLouis.com. By Central Bank, the hometown bank of the St. Louis Cardinals. And by the Painting and Decorating Foundation. This is the St. Louis Cardinals Radio Network, powered by Graybar.
Not a lot going on for the Cardinals from an offensive standpoint this afternoon. They scored just 1 run on 5 hits. They lose to Detroit by a 5-1 score. And with that, they lose 2 of 3 to the Tigers. Welcome in to the Mercy Cardinals postgame show here across the Cardinals Radio Network. My name is Matt Pauley, coming your way from Busch Stadium. Andre Palante wasn't as sharp as we've seen him at times this year, but certainly did not pitch poorly. 5 2/3 innings, 3 runs, 4 hits, 3 strikeouts. does issue 4 walks, but really if you're looking at this game, Cardinals have the 1 run on 5 hits. They go just 1 for 6 with runners in scoring position, and they end up losing this game by a 5-1 score. We've got a lot coming up on this edition of the postgame show. We will hear from Cardinals manager Oliver Marmol. We'll try to dip into the clubhouse a little bit. Up next, we're going back through the game with the highlights. This is the Mercy Cardinals postgame show on the Cardinals Radio Network, powered by Gray Bar.
And that's grounded up the middle. Diving play. Mason Wynn to his feet. He throws. He got him.
Hey, Cardinals fans. This is Mason Wynn. Join us at the ballpark on Saturday, May 24th, when the Cardinals take on the Diamondbacks. That day, 20,000 fans will take home my first ever bobblehead, thanks to Coca-Cola and Walmart. This is a must-add to all collections. That's Saturday, May 24th, the Cardinals, the Diamondbacks, and my very first bobblehead. For tickets, visit cardinals.com/promotions. St. Louis Cardinals, for the Lou.
Progressive knows when you're on your boat, you're already on vacation. And Vacation You forgets all your worries. Vacation You doesn't even keep track of time and knows that time is a meaningless construct designed to control us, man. But Regular You knows you don't want to be too far out in the water after the sun goes down because Vacation You doesn't know how to navigate in the dark yet. Vacation You and Regular You really need to get on the same page. So bundle your boat with your home or auto policy and earn an automatic discount from Progressive. And spend the savings on the both of you. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers. Not available in all states or situations.
Hark, there be a barge of overseas appliances, overpriced, tariff-laden goods. Unload quick! We don't have any other choice but to pay the high prices.
Sure we do.
Well, if my eyes don't deceive me, it be Paul Rican from Dick Van Dyke Appliance World. What speak ye about saving money?
At Dick Van Dyke Appliance World, you don't need to worry about overpriced tariff goods. We are stocked with pre-tariff inventory.
You don't need me overpriced appliances from overseas?
Nope, we're good. We even have Speed Queen in stock made right here in the good old Midwest.
You want none of it?
We have 2 warehouses full of pre-tariff inventory and a service department to repair your existing appliance if you want to save even more money instead of buying new.
Well, I'll be. Can I interest ye in me lobster bisque?
Well, it is 9 a.m.
You got to try me lobster bisque.
Okay, all right, I'll get some to go. Take credit card?
With a 5% service charge and sign here for a minimum 30% tip.
Wow. When you buy from us, you get the whole store.
Hey, all you backyard chefs and grill gurus, barbecue season is here, and I know that you're anxious to fire up that smoker or grill, but your yard needs mowed. Yes, your wife is getting hangry, but that grass isn't going to cut itself. What's an aspiring pitmaster going to do? Get the world's fastest mower, of course, a Dixie chopper from Dedicated Diesel in Urbana. They carry a full line of Dixie choppers from the Z2 and Magnum residential models up to the big Excalibur and classic commercial machines that can mow nearly 8 acres an hour. This is award-winning competition pitmaster Tim Onstadt, and whether I'm cooking low and slow or hot and fast, I always have time to savor the flavor because my mowing time is cut down by Dixie Chopper, the world's fastest mower. Get your Dixie Chopper at Champaign-Urbana's only dealer, Dedicated Diesel, at 1313 Triumph Drive in Urbana, 217-328-0562.
You're listening to St. Louis Cardinals baseball on WSJK Tuscola Champaign-Urbana, ESPN 93.5. Brought to you by Max Twin City Recycling. Visit them at maxrecycling.com.
To 1, the Cardinals lose to Detroit. Welcome back in. This is the Mercy Cardinals post-game show across the Cardinals Radio Network. Let's go back through the game with the highlights. Pitching matchup today, Andre Pallante going for the Cardinals. It's a bullpen game for the Tigers, and their initial outgetter is Brant Herter. For the Tigers, they come out in the top of the first inning. Their first hitter to face off against Andre Pallante is Kerry Carpenter.
Pallante into the windup and the pitch. A swing and a miss. Pallante strikes out Carpenter.
So a good start for Andre Pallante, puts up that 0 in the first inning. However, in the second, the Tigers, they would strike first. Riley Green leads the inning off with a base hit, then Spencer Torkelson singles. Runners on at first and third for Colt Keith.
The 1-0 pitch here for Colt Keith. That swung on, lifted in the air to left field. Should get the run in. Donovan makes the catch. Tagging up and coming down the line with the first run of the game, trying to go to second. He's out. The ball is cut by Arenado, and the throw to Gorman. That takes care of Torkelson. That's a double play, but a sacrifice fly for Keith, giving him his 13th RBI.
One of those weird situations where you can get an RBI and also hit into a double play, but it goes as a sacrifice fly, and then that's the first out of a double play. That's why you get the RBI. It's a 1-0 score. In the bottom of the second, we saw something that we don't see very often. It starts off with a walk to Ivan Herrera, and then Alec Burleson at the plate.
Lefty against lefty. Burleson bunts it up the third base line. Charging in. McKinstry throws. Safe.
Yeah, a bunt single from Alec Burleson. How about that? However, the Cardinals not able to drive in any runners there in the second inning. They strand both Herrera and Burleson, and that's how things would finish off there as the game moves along into the third inning. Into the fourth inning, the Tigers get back on the board with a couple outs. Riley Green walks, and that brings up Spencer Torkelson.
Not running. The 2-1 pitch is hit hard towards right field. That's backing up Jordan Walker, and he makes the play. No, he dropped it up against the wall. It hit his glove. He couldn't hang on. The ball dropped to the ground, and scoring from first base is Riley Green, and it's 2-0 Detroit.
The day would be over for Brant Herter after 3 innings. The next pitcher for the Tigers was Chase Lee. He comes in the fourth, and he would end up throwing a scoreless fourth, a scoreless fifth. Eventually, we would get into the sixth inning. Andre Pallante still pitching for the Cardinals. With 1 out, he would walk Riley Green. Then he walks Spencer Torkelson. After Colt Keith flies out, that's the end of the day for Pallante. Phil Maton comes on. First batter he faces is Dylan Dingler.
The pitch is swung on, grounded toward third, a base hit to left field. Here's Green around third. The throw coming in is too late. And on to third base on the play, Spencer Torkelson. The runner's caught between first and second. And now the throw comes home with the runner trying to score. Torkelson is out at the plate. Lot going on that play as the Tigers were able to move the runners along. And it's an RBI single for Dingler.
You thought at the moment that might be a key play in the sense that it kept it just as a 3-run game. And in fact, the Cardinals, they get on the board in their half of the sixth inning. New pitcher is Sean Gunther. He was the starter in the bullpen game for the Tigers in game number 1. That wasn't really a bullpen game. It was just an opener. But nonetheless, he was the starter in that game. And now he's back in a bullpen role in this game. Victor Scott II leads the inning off with a base hit. And then with 2 outs, they go back to their bullpen as Brendan Hanafy comes on, and the first batter he faces is Wilson Contreras.
Hanafy's pitch. Contreras grounds it up the middle, base hit center field, and now it's important because Scott scores. By advancing on the fly ball, the single by Contreras puts the Cardinals on the board.
Yeah, what John Rooney's alluding to right there was the fact that earlier in the inning when Brendan Donovan flied out for the second out, Scott was able to tag from first to go to second. So that was kind of a key moment in that inning, and that put him in position to be able to score on the Wilson Contreras base hit, and it is a 3-1 game. So that sends the game to the 7th. In the 7th inning, we would see the Tigers load the bases with 2 outs, and it's Riley Green at the plate.
2-2 delivery is a swing and a miss. He strikes out Riley Green. Good work for JoJo to somehow get out of the inning.
Yeah, JoJo Romero had come in as that inning was moving along and had a little bit of damage against him, but not enough to score a run, and then gets the big strikeout to strand 3 there in the 7th inning, and sends the game to the bottom of the 7th inning as Alec Burleson leads the inning off with a base hit after a Nolan Arenado strikeout. The day is over for Brendan Hanafy. Tyler Holton comes on to pitch. First batter he faces is Nolan Gorman. Gorman gets a good base hit. Burleson goes to second. Then a wild pitch puts runners on at second and third for Jordan Walker. So Walker's at the plate. He strikes out looking. He was not happy with the strike 3 call. Probably one of those pitches that you can't take, but it might not have been a strike. Either way, Walker unhappy that he has to go back to the dugout. At that point, Victor Scott II is due up. He has struggled against left-handers this year, hitting under 200. Joel Pozo, in a very small amount of time, has really excelled against left-handers. So Oliver Marmol goes to his bench to go to Pozo. Pozo ends up flying out, and the Cardinals strand 2 in the 7th, and it remains a 3-1 game. That sends the game to the 8th inning. In the 8th, Chris Roycroft comes on to pitch. First batter he faces, Spencer Torkelson walks, then Colt Keith doubles. Runners on at second and third for Dylan Dingler. He would ground out without the runners advancing, and that ends the day for Roycroft. On comes John King. First batter he faces is Trey Sweeney. He hits a sacrifice fly. That scores Spencer Torkelson, and then Javi Baez is at the plate.
Well, a run has scored this inning, and there's a line drive, base hit left field. Donovan charges, rounding third. Here is Colt Keith, and he is able to score. And the Tigers add on, leading 5-1.
That would end up being the final score in this game. Nothing doing for either team in the final inning and a half, as the Tigers do get that 5-1 win today with the victory. Tigers go to 33-17. Cardinals drop to 27-23. Winning totals for Detroit: 5 runs, 7 hits, no errors. They leave 8. For the Cardinals, 1 run, 5 hits, no errors. They leave 5. Winning pitcher is Lee. He's 1-0. The loss to Palante dropping to 4-3. No home runs hit. A game that lasts 2 hours and 42 minutes. Played in front of an announced crowd of 28,990 folks today here at Busch Stadium. Cardinals lose to Detroit by a 5-1 score. We'll come back with the post-game comments of Cardinals manager Oliver Marmol. That's up next. This is the Mercy Cardinals post-game show on the Cardinals Radio Network, powered by Gray Bar.
Experience the excitement of Live by Lowe's St. Louis Hotel at Ballpark Village. Stay in laid-back luxury across from Busch Stadium and just a short walk to Enterprise Center. Enjoy plenty of dining options, including Clark and Bourbon, a classic steakhouse that features its very own whiskey room. Gather with friends al fresco at the Bullock, steps above the plaza. Pre, post, or during a game at this casual chic outdoor terrace. Add handcrafted cocktails and terrific views of Busch Stadium and Ballpark Village, and it's a home run. Sports and entertainment come alive at Live by Lowe's St. Louis.
During National Military Appreciation Month, we at University of Maryland Global Campus say thank you to the service members, veterans, and families who dedicate their lives to our country. We are deeply grateful. For over 75 years, UMGC has proudly served the military community, from installations overseas to the communities you call home. Wherever you serve, we stand with you. Learn more at umgc.edu/thanks. Certified to operate in Virginia by Chef.
Coldwell Banker Real Estate Group's Diana Foltz, recent recipient of Champaign County's Realtor of the Year.
Diana, how do you know you've been successful?
I know that when we are invited to personal events in their lives, first birthday parties, weddings, gatherings, we know that we've been more than just their realtor. We know that we've made these relationships deep and that it goes beyond just the sale of the house. And it speaks a lot to what we want, which is to serve our clients and to, be more friends than just a realtor.
Why do you like what you do?
I really enjoy helping either a buyer or seller to get to the next chapter. And they're relying on Reggie and I to help them achieve their next goal.
You're their realtor.
We're their realtor. It's Taylor Foltz team, Coldwell Banker Real Estate Group. You can find me on the internet at dianafoltz.com. Cell phone number is 217-840-4133. And my email is diana@dianafoltz.com.
At ABC Heating and Air, it's our promise to help you always be comfortable. Do you need rescued because you're burning hot? Do you need rescued because your air is shot? Call ABC Heating and Air at 352-5400 and let us rescue you from the heat. ABC Heating and Air, 352-5400. Can't you see you need to call me at ABC? Call ABC Heating and Air. That's ABC Heating and Air, 352-5400.
Next week on an all-new Law & Order. Order! Order! We convene here for case 217, Spring Green versus Weeds. Spring Green, the floor is yours.
The weeds are infectious. The weeds steal the beauty from your lawn. We offer personalized lawn care, a mid-season checkup, and a simple and transparent process. Just click onto spring-green.com for a quote.
Okay, Spring Green wins. Weeds, you're out.
That's spring-green.com.
You're listening to St. Louis Cardinals baseball on WSJK Tuscola Champaign-Urbana, ESPN 93.5. Brought to you by Max Twin City Recycling. Visit them at maxrecycling.com.
Cardinals lose to Detroit by a 5-1 score. Tell you what, we saw some good days from some Detroit players over this series yesterday and today when they won the final two games of the series. Spencer Torkelson today had a couple hits. You look at Riley Green and his ability to score 3 runs today, drawing a couple walks, and just that whole entire bullpen group today for Detroit. I always say anytime that bullpen door swings open, there might be somebody who's off that day, and for the most part for Detroit, it was a full bullpen game today, and they certainly did well. From a Cardinals standpoint, Alec Burleson, probably the offensive star, going 2 for 4, and he had a bunt single in there as well, so it was good to see. From a pitching standpoint, Andre Palante was okay. The bullpen was okay, but nothing really overwhelming in terms of what the Cardinals did today in this 5-1 loss to Detroit. Cardinals manager Oliver Marmol spoke with the media just a few moments ago. He opened up talking about what he saw from starting pitcher Andre Palante.
He actually did a pretty nice job. I think he ran out of gas towards the end there. Didn't want Green to beat him, which I'm okay with as well. So those are 2 of the 4. Otherwise, he got some outs early, 4 on first pitch, and you could tell towards the end he was running out of gas a little bit. But yeah.
Obviously not the end result that you wanted, but what's your overall takeaway from the series of the season?
Yeah, definitely not the result we wanted, but I would say we matched up well against that group. I felt like that's a good lineup, good roster overall, and it was good to size up against them and see kind of where we're at. I think our guys handled themselves extremely well. Yesterday's game was a hell of a game. I enjoyed the back and forth. Today was a tough one. You just got to dig deep and give everything you got, knowing you got an off day and you get to rest and kind of reset. And I felt like both teams were in a little bit of that mode. And it's always, anytime it's a bullpen day and you're going to match up as much as they did, it's going to be tough on the offense. So they out-executed us, and were able to take that third game. But I felt like we played good baseball over the last 3 days. We really did.
A month ago, you guys were 5 games under. You won the next 7 series. You didn't lose a series.
Yeah.
What did you learn from that? What did you gain from that stretch? I think 16-6.
I'll continue to go back to just the work being put in. I think that's been the key to all of this, is just I really like where our guys are in this process of development and how they're approaching their day, overall their mindset, and just the intentionality to their work. That's been the key to all of this, and this is why I do believe it's sustainable, because of the way they're going about it. They're going to continue to grow. They're going to continue to execute at a higher level. So we're in a really good spot. We really are, yeah.
How do you prepare for a day like that when you are going to face so many different looks, some of them more tilted towards the matchups they want?
Yeah.
How do you make kind of choices that sway them your way?
Yeah, so day one of the series, you cover the bullpen. So we have a pretty good idea of what they're good at, what they're not good at, and how to attack them. And then today you just cover the guy that's going to open that game and focus on him. And then however they match up, we're prepped for it already. So they executed well. It was tough. I mean, they did a really nice job. So you tip your cap and you keep moving.
What did you do, like, when you kind of game plan out before the game, where you thought you might use Pozo? Did that end up being where you ended up?
That's where we thought it would. If it was, it could have been at Gorman or at Scott. Pozo kills lefties. He can also be a double play candidate. He doesn't swing and miss. He puts everything in play. He's got limited at bats, but no punch outs against the lefty this year. So you know it's going to be put in play. So with the runner on first, you can count on Gorman. I know he hit it on the ground, but most likely either it being in the air, but very rarely is he going to miss on the ground. So with the runner on first, I'm okay with Gorman taking that at bat. And then when contact was needed with second and third, I'll take Pozo's at bat.
That's Cardinals manager Oliver Marmol speaking with the media a few moments ago. Cardinals lose today by a 5-1 score. This is the Mercy Cardinals post-game show on the Cardinals Radio Network, powered by Gray Bar.
When was the last time you visited the Gateway Arch? Rise to new heights on a tram ride to the top. Discover unforgettable stories of shared history in our free world-class museum. Marvel in the builder's experience as you watch our documentary movie. Peer into the past as you slip on a headset in our VR theater. Wander 5 miles of paved trails. Relax and learn about St. Louis history on a riverboat cruise. Book your tickets today at gatewayarch.com.
Tired of hearing scary radio ads about the IRS?
Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000 or $500,000, we have a solution. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS with zero risk to you. If we can't reduce your tax debt, then you pay nothing. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with a BBB. End your tax nightmare today by visiting TRA.com or call 800-575-6879. 800-575-6879.
Well, tell me, Tim Onstad, how is it going at Gale Frericks Trucking?
Oh, we're busy. We're going gangbusters. We've got a new driver going through orientation. That leaves us one spot left for somebody that wants to get in on the action and make some money, be home, get some quality time. It's a great opportunity.
And the type of person you like hiring?
Honesty, integrity, like everybody else is looking for. That guy that wants to have a family life, but be able to make some good money and do the right things.
Are you looking for experienced drivers? And if they have a military background and things like that, that's always an asset.
We do need some experience. Of course, we like getting the guys 15 years in that know what they're doing, maybe have been treated bad by other companies and need a place looking for a home. If somebody has the basics, maybe a year and a half, has a military background, I'll count that as some experience because they're used to following the process. Well, you can always email me at timo@gftlog.com.
Drive in, drive out. Recycling's what Max is all about. You can make some cash and do your share. We make it really simple because we care. It doesn't matter large or small. Our friendly staff will handle it all. Starting it over is what we do at Max Twin City Recycling.
Your #1 sports bar and grill is Pia's. Head to 1609 West Springfield Avenue to watch all your favorite sports teams play on the big screen TVs as you enjoy great drink specials and the famous 10-ounce Slugger Burger. With the slot machines, darts, video, golf, and outdoor beer garden, meet your friends at Pia's since 1975. Open mornings at 7 a.m., Sundays at 8. See you at Pia's.
You're listening to St. Louis Cardinals baseball on WSJK Tuscola, Champaign-Urbana, ESPN 93.5. Brought to you by Max Twin City Recycling. Visit them at maxrecycling.com.
Cardinals lose to the Tigers today 5-1, end up losing 2 of 3 in the series to the team that's got the best record in all of Major League Baseball. Scores from around the big leagues. The Orioles and Brewers are playing a wild one today. Right down there, the top of the 11th inning, and the Orioles currently have an 8-4 lead as they are putting together quite the top of the 11th. Elsewhere around the National League Central, the Pirates knock off the Reds by a 3-1 score, and the Cubs get a win over the Marlins in Miami, winning 2-1. The Cardinals had Andre Pallante on the mound today. He went 5 2/3 innings, 3 runs, 4 hits. Just a little while ago, he spoke inside the Cardinals clubhouse and talked about how he was feeling in this game.
Yeah, I felt like, that was kind of the best I felt out on the mound in a while. I felt like I was throwing hard, I felt like I was throwing. My spin was pretty good, mixed really well. So I like that part of it. I feel like towards the end there when I got a little tired, I started to kind of overthrow to counteract the tiredness, and by doing that, throwing balls and put the team in a tough position with first and second, 1 out. But we ended up keeping the game relatively close. Would have been nice to take the series off those guys, but it's a long year and keep getting after them.
When you have extra velo like that, where does that come from? Do you know, when you're warming up before the game, it's there?
Warming up today, I felt pretty good. Felt like I just took this week right, did a lot of things good and got my body ready for start day. I think I've always been a guy that peaks halfway through season. My entire career, I've always gotten better as the year goes on. I think I just find my mechanics more. I find that synchronization, and it allows me to be more powerful through the mound. Just hope that's a sign of more things to come, and that, if I keep putting that product out there, the results will be really good at the end of the year.
The last month, you guys didn't lose a series, but you kind of changed the course of your season. What did you guys prove to yourselves over the last month?
I think that we can compete with the best of them, When you're young and you're not sure, you sometimes you face teams you have favorites before, you don't know, like guys that have a big stigma around them and aura around them, and then once you beat Goliath, as you might say, then you start to have more faith in yourself and you can go out there and play more free and more confident. So yeah, winning all those series is great. We've got an off day tomorrow, so I'll be refresh and get after Diamondbacks tomorrow. So or next series. Friday. Yeah, so that's a pretty good team out there. I think we're going to be confident going in there, and they want to take the series out there.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's Andre Palante speaking to the media just a few moments ago. Cardinals lose to the Tigers by a 5-1 score. One more break. We'll come back. We'll wrap up this edition of the Mercy Cardinals postgame show here on the Cardinals Radio Network, powered by Gray Bar.
The Cardinals Hall of Fame and Museum is the official home of Cardinals history. For those who want to be a part of one of the sport's greatest collections in the world, museum membership is the way to go. Cardinals Museum membership provides unlimited admission for 1 year, exclusive Hall of Fame bobbleheads, discounts, ticket offers, and more, in addition to supporting exhibit design and artifact restoration. There are a variety of membership levels, including our ultimate level of membership. For more info and to join, go to cardinals.com/membership.
This school year, I want my child to thrive, so I enrolled her at the Goddard School. Their amazing teachers truly care about building up my child's confidence, so she's ready to take on the world. And knowing she's learning in a warm and nurturing community gives me peace of mind.
Welcome to the Goddard family. Visit GoddardSchool.com to find a school near you and enroll now.
Lose the first game, they can always say that, well, we was a road team, we were supposed to lose, all those things. But if the Knicks lose this one, I think they're going to feel it.
But I'm also I'm going to love the matchup because I'm able to watch the game on my phone over here, even though I'm on this cruise ship.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm looking forward, and I know a lot of people are, the point guard matchup. When you look at Jalen Brunson and also Tyrese Halliburton, which one of those guys, not just in the first half or in the second half, which one of those guys are going to be able, especially in game one, play that complete game? And for Tyrese Halliburton, it looks different, in my opinion, than it does for Jalen Brunson.
Yeah.
What he does for his basketball team, he's a distributor, and he can also score the basketball. When you look at Jalen Brunson, we know he can pass the ball, but he's more so of a scorer first and then a pass guy second. So which guy is going to be able to play, in my opinion, a complete game? And I think which one has the ability to do that, their team is going to win.
He's Harry Douglas, joining me, Freddie Coleman, and Andre Snellings on ESPN Radio, the ESPN app, and Sirius XM Channel 80 on Freddie and Harry. Real quick, involving Game 1 last night of Oklahoma City taking on Minnesota. I know you're doing a fantastic job hanging out, enjoying your cruise, enjoying your downtime. I want to make sure you don't have that workcation take over your vacation being on that cruise. But what are your thoughts on what we were able to see where Minnesota had the advantage early, but then in the second half, it was the MVP, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, taking over and leading the way?
And, Freddie, you mentioned it, right? We hear clips from Michael Malone talk about there's a reason why SGA is going to be the MVP of the 2024-25 season. It's because he took over and he led the OKC Thunder. But also when you have a team that's as great defensively as OKC, I thought that was on display last night. Now, I'm not just going to say because OKC is up 1-0 that this series is over, because Minnesota, and you look at Chris Finch and Julius Randle and Anthony Edwards, you see them laughing on the podium. They're going to go to the drawing board. They're going to figure out what they need to do differently in game two to be able to, try to steal home court advantage because, if you're OKC, you have the best record in the Western Conference, everyone expects you to be 2-0 going up to Minnesota. If you're Minnesota and you can go back to Minnesota with the series tied 1-1, that's a big advantage in my opinion.
Yeah, that would be a big advantage. And actually, to your point, that when you get in these final series and you've got great coaches on both sides, it becomes a chess match. You mentioned how Finch and Edwards were laughing and they still felt comfortable and confident. But what do you think is the adjustment that they need to make in order to not be blown out by 26 points in game two?
Well, number one, when it comes to Minnesota, we know they were one of the better three-point shooting teams in the NBA in the regular season. So we know Anthony Edwards can ISO and get buckets, but, when teams try to take him away because OKC and their defense is so good, the secondary guys on a consistent basis, quarters 1 through 4, and I'm not saying they have to score 9 or 8 points a quarter, But when you can hit a timely basket here and there, especially when OKC goes on a run to stop the bleeding and then try to start your own run, I think that those are things that are going to be key for Minnesota in this series, not just in game one, but I think like the rest of the way. You got to be able, when OKC goes on runs, and we know they're going to do it because of the defense, and they feed off of that defensive pressure that they apply to whoever they're playing. So for Minnesota, you have to be able to stop the bleeding and then start your own run.
How's the cruise going, brother? How's everything going with that?
It's going. It's really good, man. Yesterday we had an opportunity to go to the Bahamas,
Okay.
and we docked and we went to a resort, and we had like 3 different stations set up.
Okay.
And it's a Falcons fans cruise, and it's been unbelievable.
Wow.
We had like a football toss into the net game. All of us were split up into 3 teams, alumni and also fans. And then we did a volleyball game, and then we did charades. Charades probably was the funniest because you also had to make up and sway the judges.
Oh.
Like while you're doing it, and also after you're completing it, while other teams are going as well.
Wow, that's fantastic. Well, go back to your vacation. We also
Absolutely.
appreciate you. We know you like to get the grind on and everything like that, but this is a vacation. So go enjoy your vacation, brother. We'll talk to you next week.
I love y'all. Appreciate you, Dre.
Have fun, Harry.
Much love as always to our man, Harry Douglas. Normally the co-host here in Freddie, and Harry Andre Snell's in for him with me, Freddie Coleman, on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app. Game 1 of the NBA playoffs, meaning Eastern Conference Finals. That'll be happening tonight. We take you right up until the pregame coverage at 7:30 Eastern Time. The Western Conference Finals, the Eastern Conference Finals, the NBA Finals, all right here for you on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app, presented by Indeed. Keep weighing in at 888-SAY-ESPN, 888-729-3776. You got 2 blanks that you can fill out, and you can pick one. The Pacers will beat the Knicks in this series if. The Knicks will beat the Pacers in this series if. 888-SAY-ESPN, 888-729-3776. And yeah, Coco Gauff is really on the mind of Andre Snellings. How and why? That's next on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app.
Hey, it's your resident Super Bowl champ Chris Candy coming up Thursday. Even though they were blown out in game 1, I'll tell you why I still have faith in the Wolves to win this series. It's Unsportsmanlike weekday mornings at 6 right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
A Progressive Home and Auto Bundle can protect you round the clock, but we can't protect you from those painful moments in sports.
I can't believe they're moving the team to another city.
True, but you'll never forget all the joy they brought into your life.
Joy? They made the playoffs twice in 50 years.
Gosh, those 2 times were pretty great, weren't they?
How would I know? I wasn't even born yet.
Just think of all the free time you'll have on game days.
Those games were the highlight of my week.
Well, at least your home and auto are protected with a bundle from Progressive. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers. Not available in all states or situations.
It's time to make your yard the best on the block with Memorial Day savings at the Home Depot. Start by keeping the weeds at bay with Earthgrow Mulch, now 4 for $10. Then keep your garden thriving with Miracle-Gro Garden Soil, now on special buy, 4 for $10. Give your neighbors yard envy all summer long with Memorial Day savings going on now at the Home Depot.
The Baseball Tonight podcast.
There's no great team in the American League, and there's no really, really good team in the American League. We're going to go back and forth.
The Baseball Tonight podcast is on the ESPN app or wherever you listen to podcasts.
Welcome to the show. Buckle up. It's about to get loud here. Where MLB stars flash unimaginable power. Wow. Unreal stuff. How good is this guy? And endless entertainment. Unbelievable. Where young trailblazers rock big speed, big swag, and big personalities. That's what I'm talking about. Welcome to MLB's Best. Sunday Night Baseball presented by Capital One. Every Sunday all season at 7 Eastern on ESPN.
Hey, it's Evan Cohen. Coming up Thursday, it's Game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals. Can the Knicks carry over all the good vibes from the Celtics series? Or will the Pacers be too much? It's Unsportsmanlike, 6 a.m. Eastern, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
Postseason college baseball is here. The ACC, one of the best conferences in the country.
For all the believers and playmakers. For all the unstoppable and undeniable. For all the final outs and champions crowned. Come for it all. The 2025 ACC Baseball Championship continues through the semifinals on ACCN.
Earlier on Clinton and Friends.
We are now getting to the point with the 4 teams that are in the conference finals. There is an official shift in what's happening in the NBA right now. Just look at who the players still left are. No Steph, no Bron, no KD, no Jokic, no Kawhi. This is a legitimate changing of the guard in the NBA, and I, for one, am here for it.
Clinton and Friends, weekdays from 10 to noon Eastern on ESPN Radio and on the ESPN app. This is Joe and Q.
The rare triple loss for the Green Bay Packers here. Number 1, you went ahead and outed yourself as rats. That was bad enough. Number 2, you went to the vote without having the vote. And number 3, how much time did you waste on this little endeavor to come away looking this bad? All the way around. See you Monday, November 10th. Eagles by 21 in that game.
Joe and Q, weekdays from noon to 3 Eastern on ESPN Radio and on the ESPN app.
ESPN presents the NHL Western Conference Final.
You're fighting for your opportunity to win a Stanley Cup.
You might be dreaming of ending the drought, or you might be thinking good things come in threes.
2 of the best teams, each capable of winning a Stanley Cup.
All that matters now is winning this game. The Western Conference Final, presented by Geico, continues on ESPN.
Shopping with your parents can be embarrassing.
Why would they sell jeans with holes in them? I'm going to speak to the manager.
Mom!
That hoodie is giving. You should get it. YOLO.
Thanks to the Chase mobile app, your kid can shop independently while you keep an eye on their spending. So you can go from...
We can be twinsies.
...to...
How was shopping? Saw you stayed on budget.
Thanks, Mom. Freedom for kids, control for parents. That's family banking from Chase.
Account subject to approval. Chase mobile app is available for select mobile devices. Message and data rates may apply. JP Morgan Chase Bank N.A. Member FDIC.
Hey, it's your resident Super Bowl champ, Chris Canty. You've heard me sing the praises of 5-Hour Energy, but now I'm singing even louder because they've introduced an incredible new flavor, Spicy Cinco de Mango. Spicy Cinco de Mango has a spicy chili flavor followed by a sweet mango flavor. Yes, that's right, you heard me. A spicy energy shot. It's spicy, sweet, and a tad bit unhinged, just like your boy. And it's only available online for a limited time while supplies last. So don't wait. Head to 5hourenergy.com to order Spicy Cinco de Mango today. That's 5hourenergy.com.
It's time to make your yard the best on the block with Memorial Day savings at the Home Depot. Start by keeping the weeds at bay with Earthgrow mulch, now 4 for $10. Then keep your garden thriving with Miracle-Gro garden soil, now on special buy, 4 for $10. Give your neighbors yard envy all summer long with Memorial Day savings going on now at the Home Depot.
The playoffs are in full swing, and you can get in on all the action at ESPN Bet Sportsbook. Go from tracking the latest game-changing moments to placing bets in just a few taps. Right now, new customers can get $100 in bonus bets when you make your first $10 wager. Download the ESPN Bet Sportsbook app and sign up with promo code JOEQ, J-O-E-Q, to get started today. Must be 21 plus. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Terms and conditions apply. See app for details. Offer not available in New York.
This is Freddie and Harry on ESPN Radio. And
tired of trying to keep up with Old Man Jones and his perfect lawn? Spring Green knows that we can't all spend hours a day creating that perfect shade of green, killing off all that crabgrass and making sure every insect in the neighborhood doesn't call your lawn home this year. At Spring Green, they take the hassle out of your lawn headache with services such as lawn fertilization, weed control, grub and insect control, lime treatments, and even bush and tree care. Let the experts at Spring Green help you this season. For more information, visit them at spring-green.com. Spring Green, America's neighborhood lawn care team.
The world is full of famous piles. Stonehenge, a majestic pile of rocks. The Great Pyramids, the Great Wall of China, a truly impressive pile of bricks. And then there's your pile, maybe not so famous. 2 Men in a Junk Truck can remove those not so famous piles of stuff you've collected. 2 Men in a Junk Truck, proudly part of the 2 Men in a Truck family, making space for what matters most. Schedule your pickup at 2meninthejuncktruck.com. Use code RADIO25 to save $25 on your next junk removal
removal service.
Crystal Lake Park Family Aquatic Center opens May 24th. Open 7 days a week, 12:30 p.m. on weekdays and 11 a.m. on weekends. Lap swim is Monday through Friday, 6 to 11 a.m. Check out pool memberships and punch cards for extra savings, and be on the lookout for special days and promotions at the pool. For more information, call 217-367-1544 or visit urbanaparks.org. Urbana Park District. You belong here.
PDR Automotive has now been serving the Champaign-Urbana area for over 50 years. To give you some perspective, 50 years ago ended the U.S. involvement in the Vietnam War, and it was when Secretariat won the Triple Crown. So what does that mean for you and your vehicle? Whether you need a carburetor overhauled or your new vehicle computer system diagnosed or programmed, PDR Automotive has the experienced, knowledgeable staff that can handle all your automotive needs. Online at pdrauto.com, they are what's best for your truck or car. They are PDR.
Hey, all you backyard chefs and grill gurus, barbecue season is here, and I know that you're anxious to fire up that smoker or grill, but your yard needs mowed. Yes, your wife is getting hangry, but that grass isn't going to cut itself. What's an aspiring pitmaster going to do? Get the world's fastest mower, of course, a Dixie Chopper from Dedicated Diesel in Urbana. They carry a full line of Dixie choppers from the Z2 and Magnum residential models up to the big Excalibur and classic commercial machines that can mow nearly 8 acres an hour. This is award-winning competition pitmaster Tim Onstadt, and whether I'm cooking low and slow or hot and fast, I always have time to savor the flavor because my mowing time is cut down by Dixie Chopper, the world's fastest mower. Get your Dixie Chopper at Champaign-Urbana's only dealer, Dedicated Diesel, at 1313 Triumph Drive in Urbana, 217-328-0562.
Come in and have swag, step to Aaron Judge's chest, and that's not what they saw this weekend. So this is the opportunity for him to hopefully start making some steps in the right direction, because you really don't want to get on the wrong side of the New York crowd this early in your tenure.
Number two for me is the draw of the French Open is tomorrow because the French Open is coming up next week.
Yeah, man.
I'm a huge tennis fan.
So am I.
There are storylines everywhere. On the men's side, this is the first French Open since Rafa Nadal retired. Nadal won like every French Open for darn near 2 decades. And so, the Djokovic is he's been having a down year. The young guns are on the way up. Carlos Alcaraz, Jannik Sinner. I really want to see how this plays out. And then on the women's side, as you pointed out, Sabalenka is going to be the top seed, right? But, you've got Coco Gauff is the number 2 seed overall.
Yeah.
But then you've got Iga Swiatek, who's the defending French Open champion, who's going to be the number 2 seed, and how this plays out. I can't wait to see it.
By the way, keep an eye on Mira Andreeva. She is no joke. Only 17 years of age. She's got a couple of majors in her future, as in the near future. Big hitter, can really play in all surfaces, and is really starting to find her game. Whoever draws her early is not going to be happy having her in the same side of the draw with the French Open draw happening tomorrow on the women's side. My number 2, I wonder, because Reggie Miller has the call on TNT with Kevin Harlan for the Eastern Conference Finals, involving the Indiana Pacers, a team he used to play for, and the New York Knicks, a team that he loved to torture. I just wonder, will we be able to hear his call with all the hate from the Knicks fans trying to drown out the broadcast?
Yep.
He posted a video yesterday where he's just walking around New York, and man, they will let Cheryl's brother have it. Calling him Cheryl would have been the best case scenario. The things that some of these Knicks fans were saying, I said, let it go. As Knicks fans. Cursing. They pretty much yelled at Reggie Miller in 4 different languages. English, Spanish, profanity, and double profanity.
Yeah.
That's how bad it was. So I just wonder, with him doing the broadcast for the Eastern Conference Finals, if we hear anything from Reggie Miller with that New York crowd trying to drown him out at Madison Square Garden.
Absolutely. The only thing that would be worse is if the co-announcer was Trae Young. It was just Reggie and Trae trying to announce at the same time.
Please.
But yeah, I mean, it is one of the most fun aspects. Sometimes people complain a little bit about Reggie Miller's analysis, whether they like it, whether they don't. But to have him doing the color in a Pacers versus Knicks Conference Finals is perfect. I joked about Trae Young. They really should let Spike Lee sit next to him. And just every so often he pulls the mic over and let Spike say something. That would let the best of both sides really weigh in.
Number 3.
And for me, for number 3, I really want to see the Western Conference Finals Game 2. Okay. We saw the Timberwolves battle the Thunder for a half and then really just get blown away in the second half. I'm, for one, as you know, I picked the Timberwolves to win, and I just feel like it's been historically such an even matchup that I'm expecting a good series.
Okay.
I didn't get a good game 1. No. So I want to see game 2 to see, was I tripping and it's just going to be a blowout, or will I really start to see the Timberwolves show up and really make life difficult for the Thunder?
Staying on that tip when it comes to my number 3, how will Anthony Edwards turn it on versus, say, Gilgeous-Alexander, the rest of the Western Conference Finals? Because believe me, you don't score a point in the fourth quarter. You only take one shot in the fourth quarter. And the guy on the other side that you believe you're better than scored 20 versus 31 in the second half. And, oh, by the way, was named MVP of the NBA earlier today.
Yeah.
All right, now. This is what you wanted.
Ball's in your court.
But that doesn't mean that Shai Gilgeous-Alexander has not been paying attention to that quote-unquote disrespect from the Ant-Man.
Yeah, Ant-Man, he loves to talk it. We've seen the image of him talking to KD. We've seen the image of him talking to LeBron. He's being styled as the Kingslayer. Yeah. Well, now officially Shai is the king.
Right.
This is his opportunity.
Well, if you're going to come at the king, Anthony,
better not miss.
Best not miss. Andre Snell in for Harry Douglas. I'm Freddie Coleman on the afternoon crew known as Freddie and Harry. Can we say that Minnesota's really in trouble after losing game 1? Yes and no. That's next.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6759. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start.
Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com
or call 800-575-6759. That's 800-575-6759.
Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
You're listening to WSBK
ESPN Radio Sports Beat with Freddie Coleman.
Hooray, 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 hooray. The Tush was here to stay. It's here to stay, at least for 1 year. I don't know if somebody got next to somebody.
Hey, what's up? It's The Drive with Sam Piper, ESPN Radio 93.5. Lonte.
Good morning.
Curtis Allen. Eric Piper.
Let's go, baby.
How we doing?
Well, not good after that Cardinals loss.
Yeah. First series loss in May.
Is that crazy?
Yep. They'd won 5 straight.
Wow.
And a team that's hot and in the mix in the NL Central, obviously. But the Tigers, even though they haven't been known this for a while, it's not the Justin Verlander, Miguel Cabrera, Maglio Ordonez Tigers that you met up in the World Series with.
Yep.
But they have the best record in the AL.
I tell you what, they're good. And did you see that Flaherty, did he dodged us?
Did he?
Flaherty was supposed to go today, and they announced yesterday that Flaherty would not pitch today. It would be another bullpen game. So how often, if ever, have you ever seen a 3-game series where 2 starts were bullpen games? So that's what Detroit did. What is today? Wednesday. So Monday they go bullpen. Today they go bullpen. And they said, in quotation marks here, that they're going to start Flaherty against Cleveland tomorrow because they've got a 4-game set in division. Who does that in Major League Baseball?
What's up with teams from Michigan dodging people?
Yeah, exactly. Flaherty wanted nothing to do with the shade of St. Louis and the 8,000 people there today.
I talked a little bit about the attendance yesterday. I want to get your thoughts on that.
It's time. It's time to support them.
Yeah.
I mean, if this team is fun to watch. They've played well. They're above 500. They're keeping pace with the Cubbies. I mean, don't you think? And I think I may go down Saturday, in fact. I told
nice.
Andrew, I
Yeah.
said, we strangely don't have anything going on this weekend with games. And I said, you know what? It's time. If I'm gonna call it out that it's time for Cardinals fans to support them, then I need to show up or shut up. And I thought, I may run down Saturday and go to that game. And I'm about ready to go sit at Busch Stadium and relax, maybe have a cold one.
I'm ready as well. I've been looking at a chance to get Cade back for his second game.
Yeah.
He loved it last year, and for a Cardinals team that right now is 12th in the MLB in attendance.
Is that
That's
right?
outside of the range, top 5 pretty much year in and year out.
Which makes no sense when you look around. But there's so many season tickets sold that they have. I think they're on pace for $2.8 million, but that's based on, I think, ticket sales. So,
Yep.
Hey, I know some big news maybe coming for Illinois football, right?
Yes, King Liggins from Brother Rice is already committed to the Illini.
Sweet.
We got Nasir Rankin on the way in terms of a decision within the next 30 minutes or so, and we can
Okay.
fill you in on what that's looking like.
Sweet.
Pretty optimistic Illini fans are, and Jeremy Warner's been all over that. He's up there today in Chicago.
All right.
I would say that's probably a good sign.
I would say.
But we'll fill you in more on that.
Okay.
All right, we got to catch a break here, and then we'll roll through next hour. Stick around for that. It is The Drive.
Of Oversea Appliances, overpriced, tariff-laden goods. Unload quick. We don't have any other choice but to pay the high prices.
Sure we do.
Well, if my eyes don't deceive me, it be Paul Rican from Dick Van Dyke Appliance World. What speak ye about saving money?
At Dick Van Dyke Appliance World, you don't need to worry about overpriced tariff goods. We are stocked with pre-tariff inventory.
You don't need me overpriced appliances from overseas?
Nope, we're good. We even have Speed Queen in stock made right here in the good old Midwest.
You want none of it?
We have 2 warehouses full of pre-tariff inventory and a service department to repair your existing appliance if you want to save even more money instead of buying new.
Well, I'll be. Can I interest ye in me lobster bisque?
Well, it is 9 a.m.
You got to try me lobster bisque.
Okay, all right, I'll get some to go. Take credit card?
With a 5% service charge and sign here for a minimum 30% tip.
Wow.
When you buy from us, you get the whole store.
I'm Justin Ike, co-owner of Fred's Plumbing, Heating, Air Conditioning, Electric, and Underground.
So, Justin, tell me what you see as typical when it comes to sewer repair. Give me a scenario.
Your sewer's backed up and somebody comes along and says, you need this repair for X amount of dollars. Here's my price. And you don't think to go looking for another company or a second opinion because you don't feel like you have time.
So is it possible that you might get charged a little more because it's kind of a desperate moment? Do some companies do that?
Oh, absolutely they will. They know you're in a pinch. Typically, if you call us, me or Will can be out there within an hour to look at that problem for you. Whether you call me first or you call me second, make sure you give me a call.
Anything else, Justin?
You can always trust Fred's.
Great to know. Thank you. That's Justin Ike, the co-owner of Fred's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning, Electric, and Underground. If you want more information about this great 45-year family-owned company, just go to fredscu.com. That's fredscu.com. Attention all truck drivers looking for a new opportunity with great pay and amazing benefits. Gale Frericks Trucking has got you covered. Join their team, receive a $4,000 sign-on bonus. That's right, $4,000 just for coming on board. Plus, enjoy a $1,200 gross weekly pay guarantee. Drive their state-of-the-art Freightliner Cascadia trucks equipped with a revolutionary system designed to reduce weight and downtime. Get home every weekend and some nights during the week with paid vacations and holidays. They offer company-sponsored health insurance and all the benefits you deserve. Regional drivers get first priority. Don't wait. Apply in person at Dedicated Diesel, 1313 Triumph Drive, Urbana, or call Tim at 765-505-1295. That's 765-505-1295. Start your journey today with Gale Frericks Trucking.
It is The Drive with Sam Piper, ESPN Radio 93.5. Derek Piper, Lante, Curtis Allen. We'll talk some Illini baseball, Big Ten tournament. Hey, we were just back. We were just on, but
there's a reason Dan Hartlib should be really upset today, and he has every reason in the world to be upset.
What happened?
I was shocked that Hartlib. If that would have been me, I'm out of that game. I'll put it this way. So Illinois is playing UCLA, right? The loser is done in the tournament. So it comes down to Illinois needing to win this game, essentially, to continue on. And, of course, Derek, as you know, they've got to win this tournament, the Big Ten tournament, to advance to the NCAA. So it is 2-1 Illinois. UCLA, I think, had the bases loaded. It's either first and second or bases loaded. They hit a ground ball to short, and our shortstop could have just made the throw across for the out, but he flips it to the second baseman to get the force at second. Well, he's late, and the guy's safe. But, and this is the huge but, the umpire calls him out at second, right? Well, then, as the runner goes around, so the runner touches the bag, but instead of sliding into second, he keeps running. Well, Illinois tags him on the way after he hits the bag, so now he's out. So you got a lot going on here. Basically, you had a force play that
they called him out on the force, or they called him out on the tag?
They called him out on the force, not on the tag. So what happens now is they go back and review this. UCLA goes back, and a run scores to make it 2-2. They go back and review this. The only thing they can review is the call at second on the force. So they overturn the call to safe, and because of that, it's a dead ball, so the tag doesn't mean anything. So essentially then, of course, Illinois balks in the go-ahead run to make it 3-2. Next guy hits a fly ball to center that our center fielder breaks in, gets burned, it goes all the way to the wall. UCLA ends up leading after that inning 5-2 when it should have been 2-1 inning over. So Hartlib came out and started, obviously, he was saying some particular words that we can't share here on the radio station.
Sure, yeah, as expected.
Yeah, but I'll tell you what, once you understood the call that essentially it's a dead ball after the out is called, but it was such a ridiculously bad call by the umpire. He was safe by a foot. And so Hartlib was talking to the plate umpire, who was kind of the chief, I think, and he was trying to keep him kind of composed. And Hartlib, before he left the field, he looked out at the second base umpire and said a few choice words like, "You're not very good," essentially. And then he walked off. Well, then, once they're in the dugout, the next guy, walks. And, of course, the first pitch after that is a borderline ball strike. Guy gives him a ball, calls a ball. And, of course, that's got the Illinois bench even more fired up now because they're like, come on. So, essentially, somebody from the bench said something, and the umpire turned around and warned him. And so Hartlib immediately yelled down the bench, compose yourself. Dan is such he's been around 20 years coaching this game at Illinois. So he is a guy that is very composed, and while he was mad, he kind of regained himself. Now, the story of the game.
He's not going to Lou Piniella it.
He's not going to Lou Piniella, I don't think. The story of the game, of course, Illinois came back to tie that game at 5, and then it was tied at 6. UCLA ends up winning at 8-6. The weirdest part, Derek, about this thing, and I'll shut up, but you know me, after I missed a couple shows, I got to talk. I got to get my words in for the week, Curtis.
That's fair.
So what's weird about this pool play in Big Ten, so in the pool with Illinois is Michigan and UCLA. UCLA plays Michigan tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. for no reason. So Michigan's already eliminated because Illinois beat them. UCLA has now eliminated Illinois, but yet they're going to play this third game of the pool play for nothing. So UCLA and Michigan play at 10 a.m. tomorrow in a game that means nothing, which is so strange to me. But that's kind of how they're doing it now with all these different teams. Of course, 18 teams. Is it 18 now? 16,
yep,
18 being in the Big Ten. So it's just kind of a crazy thing. But I was watching this at work. I flipped it on real quick at work, and it was right when it all occurred. And I'm like, why is he not out? I didn't understand it. I was losing my mind at work. And then they explained because it was a dead ball essentially after the out was called, because that's end to inning. But then UCLA goes back, challenges, wins the challenge, and yet you can't then call the guy out on the tag. So it all goes UCLA's way.
Did the runner notice the call? Was he going to round regardless, or did
I think he was just rounding regardless. I think it was
which
weird.
is a weird play.
Right.
If the ball is at second and you're going to round.
I think he knew he was going to be it was almost like Derek, he knew he was going to be out, so he's thinking that, or I'll be honest with you, and this is kind of what one of the announcers said, 95% of the time that play is just made by the shortstop throwing it to first to end the inning.
Yep.
And I think the guy running from first to second, who is actually the player of the year in the Big Ten. He's a sophomore shortstop from UCLA who's got 20 bombs and hitting 370, and yet he can't go pro until after his junior year. That's the crazy thing about going D1 in baseball. You're locked in for 3 years. If you go to JUCO, you can leave after 1 year to the majors. But I think it was just a weird deal where he was just going to keep running. And so he beat the ball easily to the bag for a safe, and then he gets tagged, of course, after. Well, he immediately was like, that's my bad, and then it ends up turning out to be in UCLA's favor. And once they kind of identified what had happened and it was a dead ball and that's why the tag doesn't occur, then you could understand it, right? It just essentially boiled down to the umpire missing the call at second, but it was horrible miss. I mean, it wasn't even close. It wasn't like a bang, bang, he's out or safe. It was he's safe. So it was very, very strange. And Dan said a few things. I think the plate umpire one time kind of gave him that's enough.
Yeah.
And then Dan said, well, hold on, I got to say one more thing to that guy out there.
And it's funny because it's one of those calls that it was a bad call that went in your favor.
Right.
And now you're arguing. How did you miss that call and not call him safe? Wait, you wanted him safe? Well, I wanted him out, which he would have been if you would have called him safe. So, yeah, like it's one of those funny deals.
It's the irony of that is strange, right? You explained it perfectly there. So I know that kind of an upset Dan. Of course, look, that would have been a yeoman's effort for Illinois to actually win that entire Big Ten tournament to advance to the NCAA. So,
but UCLA the 2 seed, Illinois the 11 seed, that would have given Illinois the win in Pool B. I was sitting here looking at the bracket and then realized it kind of wasn't just an open bracket.
Right.
It's 4 pools, which then boils down to a Final Four, and that would be ultimately on Friday.
Is that when? I
May
wasn't
24th.
even sure. Yeah. So, it's just kind of weird now with all the
Saturday.
Yeah. Saturday. So you've got, like in basketball, you get 15 of the 18 make the tournament. Now in baseball, we're learning kind of how they do it with the pool play and everything. So it's a new world we're living in, Derek. We're just trying to go along and make sense of it all. So not a happy Dan Hartland, but I think a happy Brett Bielema today, right?
No doubt. Real quick, Lance chimed in on the Max Twin City Recycling text line. Said, Lon, do you know why tomorrow's game is useless? If Michigan were to beat UCLA, all teams would be 1-1 in pool play. Is it a tiebreaker situation?
The way I understood it from listening to the announcers, that once Michigan lost to Illinois yesterday, they're eliminated. So they cannot move on to the next round. So essentially, there's 3 teams in each pool, and only one of them is going to advance.
Yep.
But it is strange that why would if Michigan beats UCLA, like Lance is saying, they'd all be 1-1. But that was the way that it was explained to me. And I think because UCLA is the higher seed, they get the right to play that second game. So in other words, one team's already eliminated before they play you. But it would be interesting. Like, let's say Michigan beats Illinois yesterday and eliminates Illinois. Well, then you would have Illinois playing a useless game today against UCLA. But if they beat UCLA, then what do you do? I guess Michigan advances then at that point. So unless I'm terribly wrong, Lance, and please fact check me, somebody out there. Unless I'm terribly wrong, that is exactly how the announcers were explaining it. And even UCLA, I was reading a UCLA article on this game, and they said at the end, it says UCLA next plays Michigan for another breakfast game on Thursday. The game starts at 10, but it doesn't say anything about that could lead to UCLA being knocked out. They basically say that they've advanced in the tournament. So I don't know. It's just a weird. It's kind of a weird thing. So, but I guess that's how. When you have 18 teams, you got to figure out something to do.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
But why would you just play? Why would you just play a game that makes
Big Ten tournament basketball bracket.
Right. It doesn't make
Have
any
the
sense.
buys, double buys.
Unless, like, Michigan would need it. Let's say they're on the bubble with making the tournament, and a win over a UCLA squad, a ranked UCLA squad, could maybe get them in to the NCAA. Maybe that's the reason you play that game. But I don't think Michigan, they were, the 7 seed coming in. Usually a 7 seed in the Big Ten's not going to the NCAA tournament.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I don't know. And it's just weird. Like, Oregon's the 1 seed, UCLA's the 2, and then you get Iowa as the 3 seed. I didn't even know Iowa, they've had a really good year. So, it's just weird. Like, it's like I was going to ask you this, Pipes. Since the addition of the West Coast teams, essentially you had Oregon in football was really good. Washington the year before, but they weren't in the Big Ten yet, right?
Right, yep.
So essentially Oregon was good in football, and now you've got like Oregon and UCLA good in baseball. It's just funny, like how much of an effect have those teams really had on the Big Ten in terms of winning titles and such. It's just it'll be interesting to see how that kind of plays out after 1 year.
Yeah, you had a Founding Fathers Big Ten, Rose Bowl?
Mm-hmm,
Oregon and Ohio State this past year. Obviously, I kid on that standpoint, but Oregon was the number 1 team in the country going into the college football playoff on that side of things. So basketball-wise, Oregon had a good year this past season. UCLA's very quality team, and it will be interesting pushing forward just, what that presence is going to be like. There are a number of those, depending on the sport, that will move the needle probably more so than what Rutgers did immediately in a lot of sports.
Yeah.
Maryland has been a very quality basketball program, and that was something that was expected to hit as soon as they jumped on over. But
okay,
yeah, it is kind of interesting to watch that whole thing play out, and you still have those moments like, oh yeah, Big Ten tournament baseball. Let's go to the bracket. UCLA the ones. Oh, what? Yeah.
Heath also mentioned if they're all 1-1, the highest seed moves on, of course, which would be UCLA. So that makes that game tomorrow, that renders that game useless essentially. But
fair enough,
they'll still play it, I guess. So yeah, it's just kind of a weird thing. We're all kind of getting used to all of this stuff. So
what do you do with your usual starters on a useless game? If you're in this, do you know what I mean? Like.
Yeah, you probably start some freshman.
I mean, you wouldn't want to risk an injury of any sort in a useless game, obviously. So,
and even if you're UCLA, like you've got, as I mentioned, you've got a kid at short that they think could be the number 1 pick in the MLB draft.
In the draft, yeah.
Not this year because he can't, but in
Next
2
year,
years.
yeah.
So it's like, okay, if you're UCLA, do you play your regular starters, or do you throw out essentially quote unquote JV team?
Yeah.
Against Michigan tomorrow and just say it doesn't matter if we win. I would assume if I were the coach, I would take the chance to give some of these kids a chance to play in a Big Ten tournament.
Yeah.
Playing not a meaningful game, but yet still be a big game for them, right?
Mm-hmm.
If that was your son and he hasn't started this year for UCLA and all of a sudden it's like, I can't imagine like Andrew calling me saying, hey, I'm getting the start tomorrow. I'm getting the ball. I'd be like, oh, let's go. So then all of a sudden to that kid, it becomes a very meaningful game.
Sure.
But it's a good question, Curtis. I don't know what they'll do. It might be an interesting reason for me to kind of watch tomorrow just to see what UCLA does.
It's kind of one of those maybe that's comparable, not the exact same situation, but the end of MLB season when you've locked in your postseason berth and maybe you're playing, if you're the Cardinals or Cubs playing, say, the Pirates, and your team is about ready to gear up for the postseason. The Pirates are far out of it. They're 40 games under.
Why would you say the Pirates, Derek?
Oh, well.
Oh, because they usually are.
That's usually where they're at, yeah.
Sorry, everybody that's a Pirate fan. I know one guy out there that is.
But ultimately, there might be some guys that are on
a
hot streak, and that's where, from a manager's perspective, you try to gauge that, hey, this guy wants every day at bats, stay in rhythm, and when you go now about to elimination round starting on Saturday, that you want that guy to play every day as much as you possibly can. I know it's a little bit different in terms of the scheduling in college versus the MLB, but yeah, I think Curtis makes a good point, and no doubt there's so much of no incentive to really put any risk on that game. So
no, not at all. Lance sent me what he had found. It says the 4 pool winners will meet, as you mentioned, Derek, in the single elimination semifinal on May 24th, and then the championship game on the 25th. So that's the most we've talked Big Ten baseball for a while.
It is. The Illini I had to recharge the memory real quick, but they won the Big Ten last year.
They did.
and had a really nice season. This year, a little bit below 500, I think, in conference play. They were lights out at home last year. I remember getting to a few games, had great atmospheres, and went and saw them
all the home runs they hit.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Beat a good Iowa team that had a couple of good pitchers.
They
I think it was
did.
Brody Brecht that got drafted pretty high in the MLB draft and got out there. I think they played Ohio State the other one, but this year 7-5 at home in the Big Ten, 6-9 on the road, 14-16 overall in the conference.
I'm always dangerous, Curtis. You'll find this out the more you listen to me. And
I like danger.
Of course, I'm sure you've been listening to me for the last 15 years, which I
have,
appreciate
sir.
it, buddy. Yeah.
I appreciate you listening to me for the last 15
right, exactly.
years.
Yeah, you and I both. So it's kind of dangerous, but I swear I saw the stat today that said UCLA swept Illinois this year 3-0, right, in a series. And I think it says the first time Illinois has been swept in a Big Ten series since 2017. So when you think about that, at least winning one of two or one of three, in other words, all that time, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
To have not been swept since 17. So, yes, stupid UCLA. I know Michigan knocked Illinois out of the last two Big Ten tournaments, so they exacted a little revenge. Illinois did this year by getting Michigan yesterday. So they kind of got some revenge there, but yet now UCLA is kind of coming in being that bad guy again.
Speaking of exacting revenge, Illinois has some time to repay some Big Ten West foes through the years that have come into your state and stole far too much talent on the football side. And one of two big announcements has already dropped. King Liggins, a 3-star defensive lineman out of Chicago Brother Rice. We talked to Joey Wagner about him yesterday. He said from a frame standpoint and kind of the role that they see for him going forward would line up with like a Johnny Newton. And you'd hope to, obviously we talk a lot about, for me, basketball, and you use maybe like a Marcus Domask. I said Domask. Why did I do that? Thank you, Brad Underwood. Marcus Domask.
This is a very fancy way of saying it.
Yeah, right.
Brad was all over that. Plug that into my mind. Took years of John Gross starting every press conference with obviously, to then I noticed myself saying obviously way too often. But anyways, that's a conversation another day. Anyways, so yeah, like a Terrence Shannon, Marcus Domask, you want to sell your big success stories to future recruits. So it sounds like Johnny Newton has been that for King Liggins.
Sweet.
And he took official visits to some familiar names, Wisconsin, Iowa, which it wouldn't have been that long ago. If you were in a battle with those programs for an in-state guy, you're like, oh boy, we know how this is going to go.
Correct.
But Brett Bielema doing major work in this 2026 class. They get the commitment from King Liggins today. Terrence Jamison was the lead in that pursuit. He is a top 20 prospect in the state of Illinois.
Sweet.
Which if you land Nasir Rankin today, I believe you'd have 4 top 20s, 6 top 25s in the state, and then obviously still a chance, a big one at J.C. Anderson there that would give you Rankin's number 2 in the state, Anderson number 3.
Number 3.
And that would be a big deal in terms of, even as a program that lost the, was it Nick Singleton? Singleton out of
that's right. Yeah, the defensive back,
the top 100 defensive back out of Ohio, and he ended up flipping to A&M.
That's right.
You're still, and it's early, but you're still I think number 12 or number 13 nationally.
That's incredible
as far as your class, and
pretty cool.
A lot of big work done in the state, no doubt.
That King Liggins, if you have seen a picture of him, is absolutely jacked. I mean, he's what a defensive lineman in the Big Ten should look like. So he is one of those where that's tough. As we always talk about, it's tough. The earlier you are, in other words, like a freshman or a sophomore, the closer you are to the line of scrimmage, the harder it is to play early on something like that. So I don't know that he would walk in and make immediate impact, but possibly if he's as good as Johnny Newton. I'm not sure Johnny Newton made a big impact his freshman year. So that would be that's a great call for him. Of course, they got the linebacker out of Ohio that was teammates with Bierman. So still the best name ever. I still want that jersey, Beerman.
Beerman.
I mean, come on. And so now this is it Nasir Rankin? Is that how he is? Nasir. Why do I always say it wrong? Nasir Rankin would be just, man, if you could capitalize on him and then maybe hopefully get J.C. Anderson, who is going to go through. I think he's at Ole Miss. His visit to Ole Miss this weekend. He's still going to visit Auburn.
You won't have a good time there.
No. And they've already visited once. They came back. The entire family came back. We had our post-season basketball get-together at Coach Dale Schuring's house near Atwood. And so here come the Andersons. You know, they pull in and they all get out wearing their Ole Miss garb. And I'm like, oh, no. But, you know, I told his dad, JC's dad, Jeff, I said, man, I love that place. I'm like, I've been there twice, and I would go there. But certainly I didn't tell JC that. So he knows my feelings on getting him to campus here. Hopefully that happens. But, yeah, I mean, if you could nail get Rankin and JC, I think it would be the best class Illinois had probably since Zook. And I don't even know back then.
I was thinking that as well.
It would
I
be
was
interesting
trying to
to look at
dig
that.
into that a little bit. The class that you pulled Aurelius Ben, you go back to, I think it was 2007. Is that the same class that you had Martez Wilson?
I think that was Martez.
in as well.
Yep.
I think you ended up on Rivals number 20 nationally.
Now, was Vontae Davis, was he from out there as well, from out
Washington,
east? I mean,
D.C.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think maybe you had Ben and Davis that year, along with Martez Wilson, who was the number one
player out of Illinois,
number one recruit in Illinois, and really, honestly, did not live up to that. I mean, that's obvious, but he did play pretty well for Illinois. I know Jay Lehman would always laugh when we'd talk to him, you know, during the football season. He's like, man, I walked in that weight room the first day and saw Martez Wilson. He's like, okay, I don't belong here. I mean, you talk about jacked, and a guy that had just an absolute body by whatever. I mean, he had everything you needed, but
body by Zeus.
Yeah, that's a good call.
Not Fletch, obviously now.
Body by Fletch.
The modern day Zeus.
Right. But it felt like he left, by the time he left Illinois, you felt like you needed more you wanted more out of Martez, but it was still nice that he committed to Illinois and obviously did some good things. And those guys did some good things for this Illinois program. So
big time.
I would have to think, if those guys were in the same class, that class would have to be right up there with this one. But it's great what Bielema's doing in his fourth year. It takes time. We understand that. And it could not have been any worse when it came to recruiting Illinois than when Brett Bielema showed up. I mean, Lovie Smith just flat out, it was understood. We had John Holosek on, who, of course, was the great linebacker here for Illinois back in the day, and now coached, Mount Carmel or one of the powers up in Chicago. We had him on the air, and he's like, I've never even met Lovie Smith. And it's like, wait, you're from, like, one of the top 5 football programs in the state of Illinois. You've never met Lovie Smith. So that was really, like, damaging when he said that about how Lovie was recruiting the state of Illinois. So when you look at it, the idea that Brett Bielema came in here maybe at an all-time low with regards to how Illinois was perceived by Illinois high school football coaches and to what he's done now in 4 years. Of course, the idea that he had, whether that was him or whether that was the gentleman that came in from, like, the Washington area, the high school coach, Pat Ryan is at it. They hired to kind of oversee that. Whoever's idea it was to just literally spend like 3 days on the phone and talk to every high school football coach in the state of Illinois. I'm talking Villa Grove High School got a call. Unity got a call. Scott Hamilton got a call. Every coach in the state of Illinois got a call from one coach at Illinois essentially saying, hey, we're not going to forget you. We want you to be a part of this with us. And what Brett Bielema has done in 4 years is truly amazing. And you're seeing it this year with Rankin now and obviously some others, and hopefully JC ultimately picks Illinois.
Yeah, and to have the on-field product to go with it, too, now just makes that a match made in heaven, really, to have
Big
that
time.
emphasis to mend fences that need to be mended and just show how much you care. I mean, the level of give a you-know-what in Lovie and Brett Bielema just seem to be vastly different.
Completely different. And now you've got, an 8 and a 10-win season to
exactly.
At least say, hey, this isn't just all talk.
Some NFL draft picks.
We're getting some stuff right.
Yeah.
At both defensive back and wide receiver.
Well, and I think overall big picture stuff, Lon, to your point, we're talking about details, right? Like the rap on Lovie was he didn't want to do the little things. He didn't want to go and shake the hands and kiss the babies. And like when there was that short list of potential head coaches post Lovie, Bielema was my guy. Like I was so happy that he came to town. just because he was going to calm the waters, and he knows the game. Like, he knows the game. He knows that recruiting game so well. And this has been, just as a fan, so much fun to watch.
Yeah.
So.
And to piggyback that, you couldn't have asked for a better time to get Brett Bielema because he had proven himself.
Oh, absolutely.
At Wisconsin, right?
Yeah.
He had proven himself.
Yeah.
Then he goes to Arkansas, and he literally gets fired on the field, walking off the field by the AD, and which is very awkward, to say the least, after his last game. Like, hey, by the way, you're gone, right? It's like, now go do this post-game presser and try not to, try to act fine. But then, so you're talking about a proud guy, and we know that now that we know him. I mean, I laugh with Brett Bielema that, he knows everything, right? He's like, if something happens, he's like, well, I told the guys.
Exactly.
I told the guys this might happen. It's like, oh, come on, coach. You don't know everything. But I love that about him. There's some brashness there. And I like that, and I'd rather have that in my coach. But you're talking about a guy that was wounded after that Arkansas experience. And then, of course, he goes and coaches in the NFL and as an assistant coach, essentially, with Bill Belichick and such, to where now you're talking about a guy foaming at the mouth, essentially, to prove that he is a good college football
Something
coach.
to prove, exactly.
And so the idea that you got him at that time, that worked out perfect for Illinois, and so far so good. So let's hope they nail Rankin at 4:30 today and get that done. And man,
it'll be any minute now.
It
is 4:30.
Oh, it is 4:30.
So we'll be monitoring that. We are going to be due for a break, but before we get there, I wanted to say that 2007 class, you had Regis Ben, Martez Wilson. Since 2000, if you're looking at 24/7 Sports, those are the top two highest ranked signees that you've ever had as an Illini football program. Vontae Davis and Juice Williams, class of 2006.
The year before. Okay.
So within a 2-year span, yeah.
Okay.
Ron Zook, Mike Loxley, a big presence obviously there in the D.C. area with Aurelius and also Vontae, so that was a big deal as well.
You remember just like getting Aaron Bailey, how big that was?
I do, yeah.
And basically promising him he could be a quarterback.
Yeah.
And you let him be a quarterback, and every time he would come in, you knew that he was running the football. So they would bring him in on the goal line, and it's like, I wonder what he's going to do. But it was like just winning a recruit, a top recruit in the state of Illinois, just seemed like it was such a hard thing. And it still is hard.
It's hard.
Because of the idea that so many Big Ten teams are right around you and recruit Illinois hard, and they should.
Oh, and if there's somebody that's a national recruit, I mean, there's no stopping the SEC from making their way up north. Michigan, obviously, if you're going to the Big Ten, Michigan, Ohio State, those teams are going to be a big presence. Joey mentioned yesterday you got a couple of the top guys going to USC right now in terms of the state, but it's very heavily recruited, and it is a talented area. But Rankin, if he does choose the Illini, and maybe when we get back from this break, we'll have an answer, would be just massive. So stick around for that. We'll fill you in on the details when we return.
Can I put a bow on something real quick?
Yep,
That's my fault. I totally messed that up. Notre Dame and Wisconsin was announced they're going to play at Lambeau.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
I think that was announced today. Maybe.
I think it was.
Okay. So I didn't know. Then again, if I would have any sense of what I'm doing in this world, I would know that we were going to continue to talk college football because we were going to have the news on Rankin when we come back. So poorly executed by me to interrupt you to end that break. So I apologize.
We're all good.
Listen, I've missed a couple days. I came in with some rust today.
You're not going to get fired on the walk to the car.
Right.
You're gonna be
or
good.
on the air, for that matter.
Or on the air, which would be even tougher.
I've seen that happen before, but it won't happen today.
Kyle would fire us if we don't take a break.
Right, he would.
So we'll take that. It is the drive.
Your number one sports bar and grill is Pia's. Head to 1609 West Springfield Avenue to watch all your favorite sports teams play on the big screen TVs as you enjoy great drink specials and the famous 10-ounce Slugger Burger. With the slot machines, darts, video, golf, and outdoor beer garden, meet your friends at Pia's since 1975. Open mornings at 7 a.m., Sundays at 8. See you at Pia's.
It's time for spring cleaning, so why not turn your clutter into something amazing? At the Habitat for Humanity of Champaign County Restore, your donated furniture, appliances, and home goods help build homes, community, and hope right here in Champaign County. Dropping off is easy. Bring donations behind the Restore at 1914 Glen Park Drive during donation hours. Call 217-359-0507 or visit cuhabitat.org to schedule. Declutter your home and change lives. Donate to Restore today.
Hey, all you backyard chefs and grill gurus, barbecue season is here, and I know that you're anxious to fire up that smoker or grill, but your yard needs mowed. Yes, your wife is getting hangry, but that grass isn't going to cut itself. What's an aspiring pitmaster going to do? Get the world's fastest mower, of course, a Dixie Chopper from Dedicated Diesel in Urbana. They carry a full line of Dixie choppers from the Z2 and Magnum residential models up to the big Excalibur and classic commercial machines that can mow nearly 8 acres an hour. This is award-winning competition pitmaster Tim Onstott, and whether I'm cooking low and slow or hot and fast, I always have time to savor the flavor because my mowing time is cut down by Dixie Chopper, the world's fastest mower. Get your Dixie Chopper at Champaign-Urbana's only dealer, Dedicated Diesel, at 1313 Triumph Drive in Urbana, 217-328-0562.
Take charge of the years ahead with a smart, sound investment strategy and business succession plan. Busey Bank's business and wealth management experts help you envision your best future with powerful insights and proven strategies. Building business and growing wealth since 1868, Busey Bank, proud to be the official bank of the Fighting Illini. Member FDIC.
What is most important to you in your life? This is Eric Boland with Provident Financial Group. Whether you're launching a career, raising a family, planning for retirement, or creating a legacy, we can help. At Provident, we provide strategic thinking and perspective that help clients like you realize their goals. Contact us today at 217-366-3456 or find us online at providentfinancialgroupllc.com.
Securities and advisory services offered through Commonwealth Financial Network. Member FINRA SIPC, a registered investment advisor.
Sarah Champagne managing partner Ben Quattrone.
We're always looking for people. You can go online and apply on our website. We never know what we're going to need. We're always expanding. We're always building more and growing our business. If we don't need a person and they come along and we find out that they're an eagle, they're a star, we'll hire them. We'll put them somewhere and wait for the spot we're going to have them working.
Learn more at sarahchampagne.com.
Back on the drive with Sam Piper, ESPN Radio 93.5. Waiting to hear word from Nasir Rankin. He is currently at the table talking on 24/7 Sports, their live YouTube, where he's going to make his announcement. Hats on the table. I just told you guys during the break, I didn't realize, and Joey probably mentioned this yesterday, that Nebraska is one of the hats there.
I didn't either.
As kind of like a Trey Taylor retaliation. Can you pick up the hat, toss it across the room before putting the Illini on there? So you got Duke, UNC, USC, Illinois, and Nebraska from left to right sitting there. He's with his parents. He's got the microphone, and we'll hear his choice here pretty soon.
And it's interesting to bring you in on this with regards to the basketball side of things, that Brad Underwood offered him a scholarship or offered him a spot.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if –
I think it was an offer. As far as, what would that look like in terms of the scholarship?
Exactly.
You might not even need to do that.
Right.
But just the opportunity to be on the team.
Pretty cool.
Is something that, and hearing Joey break it down as far as Illinois has done a great job of catering to what he wants that vision to look like. And he's a talented enough athlete to have those dreams fulfilled at Illinois. You want to play defensive back? You want to play wide receiver? You tell us. We'll give you that chance to come in and do that. If you want to dabble around with some basketball, we'll, on the front end, at least say that we're open-minded to you trying it. Now, I said to Joey yesterday, the great thing about Illinois football now is we expect him to still have a game late December, maybe even in January, and that would cut into, bowl practices. That would obviously cut into what he could do on the basketball court. But, from a recruiting standpoint, you're the in-state school. Why not tell him that he can do whatever from an athleticism standpoint, what he brings to the table. Why not just
Amen.
say, hey, you want to wear the Illini basketball jersey for a few months and be over there at Ubben? We're open-minded to it.
It'd be kind of cool to sit in on that conversation when Brett Bielema, showed up at Brad Underwood's office essentially and knocked on the door. Hey, Brett, you got a minute? And kind of threw that by him with the idea. It would be kind of cool to know kind of how that transpired. Maybe it was as simple as Brett doing that, just going down to Brad saying, hey, or does Josh Whitman approach Brad about something like that with regards to that? But I think Brett and Brad are pretty close, so I would assume that was a simple, hey, this kid is really good and we need to get him, and one of the caveats might be with the spot on the basketball team. So certainly it sounds like he's a good enough player. Like, for instance, I'll ask you this, Pipes, if you know or not. Maybe we should wait until he commits before we tick him off. Do you think standalone-wise he would be good enough to be offered a spot? Like, for instance, they just offered the young man Agbayama, or I'm sure I was way off on that.
Which guy? The guy that they're just taking late in this upcoming class? Blake Fakbemi out of Bennett Academy.
Samsonite.
I was just mixing the letters around a little bit.
You could do that and probably land on somebody from Europe or somewhere that Illinois is in on.
Itch. I'll just throw the itch in there. But, for instance, I wonder if Rankin would be as good as that young man, essentially.
It's a good question. I wasn't as familiar with Blake coming out of Bennett Academy, and admittedly haven't seen much of Nasir. Now he's at more of a Bennett Academy is a great program, but Morgan Park also is up there as well. So I don't know. He's a little undersized as kind of a slot receiver. I think he's listed at 5'11".
Wow.
So from a basketball standpoint, I don't feel like on a standalone, he'd be somebody that would be on the way to the Big Ten to play basketball. But hopefully I don't see any earpiece or any phone that's out to maybe be streaming our show as he's about to put the hat on. So I don't think me saying that's going to sway him one way or the other.
That's fair.
What number was the Illini hat in the order? What was the third hat?
So it's now the one going on his head.
Yo!
Wait, let's see if he throws it.
Oh, he threw it.
No!
No, he literally threw it.
He did? No! Are you serious?
He threw the Illinois hat. Now he's putting the Duke hat on. And then he put the Duke hat back down. Why do we do this?
Why?
Now he's putting the Carolina hat on. He said, nah. He's putting the Nebraska hat on. I'm not lying. This is literally happening.
Oh, my.
He put it back on the table. USC right there in the middle. Put the USC hat on. Put it back on the table.
Unbelievable.
He pulls an Illinois hat from underneath the table, puts the Illinois hat on.
What?
Unveils the shirt underneath his zip up. So we threw an Illinois hat. We put every hat on the table on the head, put it back down, and then we committed to Illinois.
So he's throwing shade at Taylor. What the hell? Exactly.
Yeah, there is some of that, right?
Oh, my goodness.
We got to stop doing this.
That was great play-by-play, by the way.
I'm sorry.
No,
I don't know if that was dumb, but
it was great play-by-play.
What an emotional roller coaster you just took us on.
I know.
Like you could have played the sad trombone in the background. When you said, no, he literally threw the hat.
Curtis and I had our mouths open looking at you going, what? Hold on, what? And then when you said USC's the final hat, I was like, oh, no. But he is coming to Illinois.
It flashes across the screen. 4-star athlete Nasir Rankin commits to Illinois. I don't have the sound on. He's got the hat on. He's got the shirt.
Oh, my goodness.
Mom is crying.
Okay.
The scene looks good now.
Yeah, right.
Prior to that, it was getting a little interesting.
Oh, boy.
Is that the most hat switches ever? Maybe
Maybe we're trying to set records, I guess. I guess when you do something interesting, then it goes crazy on social media and whatnot, and
everybody knows you.
Yeah.
That will be all over Instagram, TikTok,
my
Facebook.
goodness.
It'll be everywhere in the next 10 minutes.
Yeah, I can't wait to watch it now. This is must-see TV now. The signing of Nasir Rankin.
I don't know. Maybe I'm getting old.
Well,
now. I am old, maybe in the recruiting game now, covering this for more than a decade. That some of this stuff you're like, come on.
I'm going to warn you, it happens.
It happens.
Get older,
you
get a little bit. edgy with things.
Yep.
It's like, what are we doing, kids? What are we doing? Just pick
more
a hat
easily
up.
annoyed.
Exactly. That's the better way to say it. You just are more easily annoyed by stuff.
You're going to listen to a lot of Bob Seger music real soon.
Interesting. Okay.
Just thinking or thinking about Glory Days with Springsteen or something like
yeah.
that.
Sounds right.
And find yourself driving from town to town to watch your kids play sports.
Yes, you will, buddy.
It's all gonna happen to you, Derek. Well, listen. The good news is they get Rankin. That's
huge.
That's phenomenal
Huge, yeah.
for Illinois. And if you're a guy like J.C. Anderson and even Rankin and some of these other kids, you want to play with good players, right? And we've heard that for years. The unfortunate part is Illinois was always so far behind in that because it's like, well, wait, we got to get a good player to get then another good player to. Well, now Brett Bielema's putting together a class that has a lot of good players, and you could understand now, why a guy like JC would be like, well, hold on a second. If Rankin's going there and he's the number 2 kid in Illinois, why can't I or why shouldn't I to play with him? But can you imagine in like 2 years, is Malik Elzy going to be a true junior this year? So if
Sounds right, yeah. I think that's correct.
Like, can you imagine, like, even if he were, like, had a redshirt year, which I don't think he did. He played his freshman year. So, but can you imagine, like, his senior year, you've got Elzy, Braden Trimble, who I know when I talked to Jeremy Warner at the golf regionals here at Atkins, we were talking about Trimble, and he was saying how he has just really impressed the Illinois coaches. But imagine having an offense on that field in 2 years that has J.C. Anderson as a tight end.
Mm-hmm.
You've got Nasir Rankin in the slot. You got Malik Elzy on the outside, and then you got Braden Trimble in, what would that be, the Y? I don't know, the ZY. I get all confused by those. Imagine having those 4 weapons out there, and you're just unloading them. And that I'm not giving enough credit to some of these other Illinois receivers that are already here. So I apologize for that. But just the idea of ranking the number 2 guy in the class. If JC commits, the number 3 guy in the class. Malik Elzy was a 4-star kid that was top 20 in the class. And then who was the other one? I forget now all of a sudden. Who did I
Throw
have?
JC in there?
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, JC was
LZ,
3.
JC, Trimble.
Yeah, I said them
and,
all in. Or Trimble, yeah, who was a 4-star kid.
Right.
So
and Rankin, yes.
Imagine having those 4 weapons.
That's
because
a lot of fun to think about.
It would be because now, Derek, think ahead. You're not going to have Altmaier after this season. And there's going to be a big hole there. Now, do they like Petty enough? Do they like some of these other young quarterbacks that are coming along? I think they've got their eye on one of the young ones that they really like. The names are escaping me right now, but certainly if you're a quarterback out there in the portal, Derek, and you've got those weapons to throw to, that now is going to be a little bit easier, I would assume, if you need to go through the portal to go get a quarterback if your young guys aren't quite ready. I know they brought in the young man from Northern Illinois, but it sounds like he's more of just a game manager kind of manager thing. So if you're really wanting to make a splash next year in the portal at quarterback, you're sitting there going, well, here's who you can throw to. And it's like, okay.
Yeah, and we just used the examples of what you've done, defensive lineman,
absolutely.
Secondary, wide receiver. Luke Altmaier is going to be a darn good shining example of development, opportunity for the next transfer portal quarterback, assuming this season goes the way we all expect it to for Luke and for Illinois. So if he's a bona fide top 3 to 5 quarterback in the Big Ten, maybe gets a chance to, never know, is he going to be a potential draft pick, even if it's a later round guy? Like that
would be awesome.
Fulfilling dreams, and that's what people want when they're in the portal. So I think that's something that would speak volumes of Illinois, and no doubt you want the weaponry there. You want the offense that is going to let, it's different. I think Joey made a good point yesterday. I know we're due for one more break here, that this is not the ground and pound, the quarterback is just going to be a game manager. Like
right.
This has opened up more to where they're throwing the football, they're using their weapons, and this is really a chance this season to show that the game has truly changed at Illinois. And it's not just a one-off year. that they're going to build back-to-back seasons, back-to-back recruiting classes as that pushes forward, and that would give you the chance to have real sustainability. And these are the type of gets in state that you want to haul in to build the path there.
Imagine waking from a 10 to 20 year slumber and somebody telling you Illinois basketball no longer really recruits Chicago. They recruit in Croatia and Serbia, essentially the Balkans.
Yep.
And your team has this many guys on there from Europe, from overseas. Oh, and the football program is now throwing it all over. Now, I guess back in the Dave Wilson, Tony Eason,
George,
Kurt Kittner
Yeah.
even. So maybe you would wake up thinking you were still back there, but imagine then saying, yeah, like we're going to be like, we've got like literally 4 dudes that could go on and play in the NFL at both tight end and wide receiver. And I mean, it's crazy. It's a good time to be an Illinois fan right now when it comes to both of those programs. And the idea that we even think that football could be in better shape than basketball, how often have we said that? And that's the amazing thing. So, by the way, at this next break, you guys need to get on ESPN and read the article. Sources, tempers flare as Eagles defend tush push in heated debate. We
okay.
can't even talk about it on the air.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
You'll understand when
Fair enough.
when you see it.
The last thing I would say is if you would have told me however many years ago, Balkan, like, oh, they're recruiting the Balkans, all I would know is Balkan Avenue.
Exactly. Is that a monopoly?
A monopoly, right?
Yeah,
is
right.
it one? I hope I'm right on that.
Balkan?
Is it?
I don't think so.
No, shoot.
I don't think Balkan Avenue is a.
What's the cheap ones?
Oh, that's
what avenue is that?
Oh man.
Well, you know what? In the
Baltic. It's Baltic. Yeah.
Darn it, I just made myself like an idiot.
That's all right.
Tonight we're 2 for 2.
What a show. Well, you know what? In my game, it's Balkan Avenue.
Exactly. Derek's got a piece of tape over it. He's gonna go home
and if
tonight.
I'm stuck with the purples, the dark purples, right? I don't know anything now. I'm questioning everything. I'm darn sure smoking those cigarettes like they do in the Balkans. All right, I'm going way too far. We'll be back. I think it's the drive.
Hey, all you backyard chefs and grill gurus, barbecue season is here, and I know that you're anxious to fire up that smoker or grill, but your yard needs mowed. Yes, your wife is getting hangry, but that grass isn't going to cut itself. What's an aspiring pitmaster going to do? Get the world's fastest mower, of course, a Dixie Chopper from Dedicated Diesel in Urbana. They carry a full line of Dixie Choppers from the Z2 and Magnum residential models up to the big Excalibur and classic commercial machines that can mow nearly 8 acres an hour. This is award-winning competition pitmaster Tim Onstott, and whether I'm cooking low and slow or hot and fast, I always have time to savor the flavor because my mowing time is cut down by Dixie Chopper, the world's fastest mower. Get your Dixie Chopper at Champaign-Urbana's only dealer, Dedicated Diesel, at 1313 Triumph Drive in Urbana, 217-328-0562.
We're talking to John Reichert from A&R Mechanical. 100 years in our community. So many buildings in this town, like Memorial Stadium. Of course, the State Farm Center. Can you remember the reaction from the company getting that? Because that's a big one.
Oh, that was huge. If you just think about it a little bit, everything we put in is straight, pipe is straight. We're putting all that into a round building. And, it took a lot of know-how to make that project happen. It was one of the first projects we did using our new technologies. And the timing was just right. We were the right people for that project, and I think we did it successfully.
The legacy of A&R. John, I could almost say, what haven't you built? Up and down campus, the Siebel Center was fairly new for computer science.
Everybody was working as a team, and I think it came out very well.
A&R Mechanical has helped build Carl at the Fields expansion and other Carl projects in Provena and Sarah Bush Lincoln. The list goes on and on. Visit them at ar-mech.com.
Racing, racing, racing! Farmer City Raceway is your local award-winning dirt track with exciting Friday night lights illuminating the late models and modifieds going for the checkered flag for the win. Make arrangements to get in on the camping with great price points for pit passes and young fans, as well as veterans. Friday nights, the hot laps start at 6:30, then qualifying and racing action. Don't miss out on the fun at Farmer City Raceway. For details, visit farmercityracing.com. You'll buy the whole seat, but you only need the edge.
Hi, I'm Tyler Weaver, president of Carpet Weavers Flooring and Furniture Gallery. It's time to come home to Carpet Weavers. We don't want you to just like your new floors. We want you to love them. From waterproof floors and carpet to furnitures and design advice, we've got a team of experts on your side. We'll get you the best price and the best quality products. And complete your home with furniture and accessories. Buy it all with free financing too. Come home to Carpet Weavers, where floors, furniture, and family meet.
The sounds of spring and the smell of flowers in the air, they all add up to Spring Green, America's neighborhood lawn care team. They become your favorite through quality service and professionalism. Spring Green will service and maintain your lawnscape with seeding, aeration, fertilizing, disease, and insect control. Over 32 years of satisfied customers reflect their commitment to Champaign-Urbana and the Mattoon-Charleston area. Call Spring Green at 217-359-2111 or online at spring-green.com.
Finishing up on the drive with Sam Piper, ESPN Radio 93.5. Vulcan Avenue. I don't know how you come back from that. But we're going to try. And I say we. I don't want to rope you guys into that. Anyways, can I just throw you guys a funny note as well, as we kind of talked about getting old and a little more angry?
Yeah.
Yes.
So as I was on the YouTube live stream, it ended. And I don't know if this did the same for everybody, but it switched me. Instead of just, it says your stream has ended, it took me to another stream.
Oh.
This one is Beachside Jazz Cafe. Smooth jazz and relaxing morning ambiance for peace, focus, and relaxation.
Where's that at?
I don't know.
Well, that does look really nice.
Oh,
It does look pretty nice. I don't know what
Yeah.
the sounds are. Apparently smooth jazz. I don't know if that was supposed to calm me down after if I got a little worked up about the hat fakes. But I
That's
don't know.
what you take a nap to right there.
Right.
So
Nap
when
sounds good.
I don't ever take naps. When I do, on occasion, I will YouTube Bora Bora waves.
Is that right?
And it's just this nice, relaxing, like the waves coming up on and it's just like, oh, good night.
I still have the kiddos' sound machine from when they were little.
Oh,
at
yeah.
the house.
Yeah.
I'll turn that thing on. Pipes, if you've got one for your
I
kids.
do. I know what you mean.
Don't throw it away.
Aren't
keep
there
it, keep it forever.
That's a great idea. Aren't there like 6 different settings,
Yes.
like rain?
Yes.
Different stuff like that?
There's one that sounds like it's supposed to sound like you're in a boat with rough water. So you hear the waves the waves keep crashing against a boat or something like that's my favorite. I turn that thing on and I am out, fellas.
I always laugh. Like I'm picturing Curtis just sound asleep in the living room, and the 2 kids are just still up, like eating. They're eating dangerous things, and it's like, it's like, wait a minute, this backfired. It put the dad to sleep, and that's hilarious.
There was one time I took him to the movies just so I could take a nap for about an hour and a half. What was Super Pets? It was the one with The Rock as Superman's dog.
Oh, nice.
I have no idea what happened. 90 minutes of blissful sleep. Woke up with a bucket of popcorn in my lap.
Boom.
Kiddos were like, "That was so funny, Daddy." But anyway,
I'm taking notes.
Yeah, I was
I'm
going to say,
taking notes right.
Derek's
What else?
writing
What
this
else you
down.
guys got?
well, you got to give the missus a break. Be like, no, when they're old enough to go to the movies, and the missus needs a break. Derek,
I love it.
Find the next animated Rock movie, and you will fall
Boom.
asleep. Dwayne Johnson will help get you a nap.
Fair enough.
And the kids will be entertained.
Curtis
Right.
wakes up
Yeah.
and he hasn't even eaten through
Not
the
one
buttered
bite, dude.
part of the
Nope.
popcorn.
Just butter all over my hand. Soggy popcorn. But it didn't matter. I got my sleep. It was good.
Do I take some of like Lon's Milk Duds and put them on
Yes.
the floor? So that's like the trap. Like you're kind of home alone in this thing. If they were to try to
you
leave
go.
while I'm asleep, they're stuck in Milk Dud. Like, Dad, I'm stuck in a Milk Dud. Like, oh, what?
Oh, I'm awake. I'm good. How often do you guys go to movies much?
Yeah, I do. I try to go
I love,
like once a month. I love going to the movies.
Yeah, I do too. And I had talked to you guys about maybe going tonight. Andrew went last night and saw Sinners.
Yeah, man.
Said it was really good.
It's really, really good.
It is funny, though. I always laugh at myself that, first of all, when you get the deal, the popcorn deal or whatever, I need somebody to basically help me carry the popcorn into the. It's such a big thing.
You're gonna spill.
I know you can get less, but it's like I'll just do that deal, I guess. So then I sit there and I chow. I mean, before the movie even begins, I have eaten through all of the buttered part of the popcorn, and then essentially I'm done with popcorn for the rest of the movie.
Yeah.
So like if it's 2 hour, 15-minute movie, I am done with the popcorn before the 2 hour and 15 minutes even begins. Yeah. And it's like, well, this kind of is weird, but that is kind of. I was going to tell you, Pipes, we're going to have Brian Ames on Friday, who is our local Indy 500 expert. We were talking about that Brickyard at the Crossing, or Brickyard Crossing is what it's called. It's the golf course over in Indy that 4 of the holes are inside the track in the infield of the Indy 500. And I had a chance to play that course, and then it lightninged and kicked us off the course right before I got to play those holes inside the stadium, which I'm still so mad about. But it does look like you can just go over and play this. So I don't think it looks like a public course. So you can go and
you didn't get a rain check? It's like, hey, I got
it was a Pekin
Are
Insurance
you able to
thing.
do that? I don't know.
I would assume.
Yeah.
But Andrew is going, speaking of
rain check from 95.
Right.
Still honoring that.
Speaking of JC and Braden Trimble we talked about, I think they and Andrew and a couple buddies are all going to the Indy 500 Sunday. And Curtis, you said you've been twice.
I've been twice. Yeah, I went once when I was a little guy. I was like 8 or 9 years old. And I remember a lot of rain. That's all I really remember from that one.
It's just rain.
But I went, it's been in the last 6-7 years.
Awesome.
Perfect weather when we went. There's so much going. It is